That's not good. I gotta figure out where that water's coming from. Turns out we probably have a bigger problem than I thought. Pierced the line and we are running in a vacuum. It didn't like melt a hole through it. It literally just came apart. I went ahead and added 404. So this is the R290 charging scale. Oh, sounds like harvest to me. Got a nice bridge on there. I like it. So my assumption is that my curtain switch has failed. It's failed closed, so it will start up, it will make ice, but it doesn't recognize the swing. Y'all are not gonna believe what I just did. All right, let me show you real quick. We're just gonna go ahead and use this here and turn it on. It is, that's not good. I gotta figure out where that water's coming from. So our water is coming out. Oh, there's a hole down here. What the heck? There's a hole. Look at that. There's probably supposed to be a plug in there. All right, so this is the best I could come up with. It's a cork from a wine or champagne bottle. I'm just gonna go ahead and shove it right up in there. Obviously, that's just a temporary thing. We'll get something more permanent here in a little bit. So we're just gonna go ahead and try that again. Turn that on. So everything seems to be running right now. We got my water running over the evaporator, compressor, and condenser fan motor are energized. If that's all it took to fix this, that's gonna be freaking awesome. Unfortunately, it looks like we have a bigger problem. We're about 4 minutes into freeze, and this water is not getting cold at all. Turns out we probably have a bigger problem than I thought, so we're gonna take off all of these panels and see what's going on with our compressor. Come right over here, take a look at our condenser. We got a little bit of warmth on the inlet, cold ambient temperature on the outlet. Compressor is running, feels warm, and that's about it. So we got our evaporator inlet and outlet. Let's see what that feels like. It's kind of cool, not cold, definitely not frozen. So there are no service ports on this machine because it is an R290. We're gonna have to tie into that service stem over there with the piercing valve. Like I said, right here, refrigerant, right here, R290, 4 ounces. Let me get my piercing valve, throw it on there, and see what our pressure looks like. So it wasn't very easy, but I was able to get my piercing valve on there. I'm gonna connect this guy before I actually pierce it so that it doesn't suck a bunch of air into the system if it's running in a vacuum, which I kind of assume it is. So we're at 0 PSI. I'm gonna reach back there and pierce that line real quick. Pierce the line, and we are running in a vacuum. With this thing being an R290 machine, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just cut that line out, let all the refrigerant vent off, and I'm gonna add a service port so that I can pressurize it with 404 and some nitrogen and try to find a potential leak. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weld off the service stem. I'm gonna weld on this one right here that has a port on it. Oh, and I vented out all of the refrigerant, and the system's been open for probably the last hour and a half because I took off and went and got some lunch. Oh no. Well, that sucks. This thing's really hot, but it broke off while I was welding. Instead of sliding out of there, it just freaking broke and came off. I don't know why. It didn't like melt a hole through it. It literally just came apart. So here's a good shot at what happened. There's my nub right there. And I don't think I'm able to get that out of that other piece of copper. So here's what I did. I went ahead and I took my Schrader and I expanded one end. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick it right on top of there, and then I'm gonna weld it. I know it's not ideal, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. All right, now we need to try again. Got this installed. I'm not gonna show you my weld because it's kind of ugly, but we're gonna leak check it. 404 and nitrogen. Go ahead and throw a trace amount in there, and then I'm gonna pressurize it probably to, I don't know, maybe 250, 300, see what happens. I went ahead and added 404. I'm at 100 PSI with just 404. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add nitrogen to really pressurize this. And I'm gonna let it get up to 250 probably. All right, we're gonna try that for now. Let me get my leak detector and start hunting. I don't know what to do. I put 404 in it, pressurized it, searched for 15, 20 minutes, couldn't find anything. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna empty it out, run a vacuum, charge it up with the proper amount of R290. If it still doesn't work after that, then I guess I know it's not a charge issue. But if it does work, then it was a charge issue. I just wasn't able to find the leak. And what would the chances be that it was leaking from the service stem that I took out of there? You know, it's a long shot, but it's possible. You don't really ever know. Gonna end up letting this vacuum run for probably the next 30 to 45 minutes, possibly even an hour. And then once we get down to 500 microns, we will charge it up with some R290. So let's call it an hour later. We're at 480. So this is the R290 charging scale. This is the refrigerant grade R290 propane. And that tip just screws right into there. Make sure that's closed. You will need to bleed it off a little bit, as well as bleed out these hoses. But, and you got to be careful when you screw this on that you don't actually break the scale, because this is the actual scale part that it's attached to. I've bled my hose up to here. I actually took off the yellow hose. I don't know why I said earlier I was going to connect to there. Then I purged out here, and this is shut off. So everything is open to my scale. I've zeroed out my scale, so now I'm at 0. I'm trying to get to 4.6 ounces. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up this shutoff valve right here, and I'm gonna let 4.6 go in there, and then I'm gonna close it. I was able to suck some more refrigerant in through the suction port. I know it's supposed to be 4.6, but I'm gonna chalk up that extra 0.1 to what liquid's in this line. I'm gonna close this off right here, and then I'm going to suck the rest of this refrigerant out and let that go into the suction side, and then we can see what our actual suction pressure is running at during freeze and during harvest. And I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up and put this away. To show you real quick, we're 300 seconds into freeze. I don't know if you can see that, but there's ice forming. We're gonna let this keep going. I should have started my timer. I will do it on the next cycle. Pretty cool, this thing has a countdown going. So I would assume when this gets to 0, we're gonna go into harvest. And I've already checked, there's some ice up here. Just wanna see if it actually falls from the evaporator down into the storage bin. And this blue light is really cool. I like this blue light. Oh, sounds like harvest to me. Let's see, where my pressure gonna jump up? It was down at, it was at close to 0. It was at 25 PSI is what it was at. Now we're only up to 50. I don't know what temperature that is for R290. I have to get out a PT chart, but looks like we have a good slab on there. Let's see if it falls off. Ayo, we got some ice, boy. Let's look at this. Look at that cool blue light. Okay, let's check it out. Got a nice bridge on there. I like it. Well, that's strange. We're still in harvest, even though the ice fell off. I don't know if that means there's a curtain issue. Open and close that again, see what happens. Nothing, still in harvest. I don't know if the harvest has just a timer or what it is. Hopefully this thing doesn't shut off on long harvest. 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Ice started going over, or excuse me, water started going over the evaporator. My water inlet valve just energized. It still says that it's in harvest though, and I can't get this curtain opening and closing to change anything. I don't even see any lights on my control board that would tell me whether or not that sensor is operating properly. For a second time, another batch of ice fell in there, but it did not come out of harvest, and my timer's still going up. I opened up the manual on my phone. It's not a very thorough manual, but I'm just gonna let it go. There is a ice harvest overtime error, which may or may not go off at some point. I'm just gonna let this thing run. It might just be part of its sequence. I'm not really sure. So never did cycle into freeze. We went off on E03, which is just error 3, ice harvest overtime. We got that blinking fault light. So I'm assuming there's something wrong with this curtain switch. I have no idea what it might be. I'm actually kind of surprised it would be running if it was showing as, I guess it's always showing as closed. It's never opening. Kind of weird. The bin switch is right here, magnet, and then the reed switch right there. It also plugs right here into the board. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna unplug it. I'm gonna see if this machine will even turn on with the curtain open. See if it goes off on a curtain fault. Oh, look at that, right away. E1, curtain fault, ice full. So my assumption is that my curtain switch has failed. It's failed closed, so it will start up, it will make ice, but it doesn't recognize the swing. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna wait for it to go into harvest, and then when it harvests the ice, I'm gonna unplug it and plug it back in. That'll just be a double verification that it's the curtain switch that isn't working properly. Just cycled into harvest. Like I said, when this ice falls, I'm going to unplug and plug in the magnetic bin switch, see if it cycles into the next free cycle. All right, ice just fell. We're still in harvest. Go ahead and just unplug and plug that back in. Oh, and look at that. We went from harvest light went off to, we went to make. So now I can confirm bad magnetic curtain switch. All right, it's been a long night. I'm calling it. Y'all are not gonna believe what I just did. All right, let me show you real quick. So I don't remember where I left off last week when I was messing with this, but this is the bin switch wire, and I wire nutted it to a used Manitowoc bin switch, and I just kind of shoved it back here for right now to where the magnet is. See if I can get it to stay back there again. I'll eventually secure it permanently. But now, when the curtain opens and closes, you get that red light flashing. And I just made a cycle of ice. It dropped, right? And then it went right back in the next ice making cycle. So that's a success. Look, now I know that this is not OEM and all that good stuff, right? But I went to the an Avantco website, tried to find some parts, couldn't find the part, tried to call their tech support, no one answered. I couldn't get the support I needed, so this is what I'm gonna do going forward. I'm gonna secure that in place, and then I have a working ice machine for free. I mean, I know I had to charge it up and all that, which was time, and time is money, but whatever. Hey, thanks for watching Ice Machine 411, your go-to spot for all things ice machine related. See you guys next time.